So I used to think that anybody could get into tech. But after being in this for quite some time, teaching thousands and thousands and thousands of people, I hate to say it, but it's just not true, man. Everybody cannot get into tech. And there's just a few just baseline things, just a few bare minimum requirements that you gotta have to be able to do this. And if you don't fit into these buckets during this episode, maybe this is gonna be your sign to try something else. Or if you do fit into these buckets, maybe it'll be, your time or your sign to really take it to the next level. So I've trained over 15,000 people, from soldiers, college students, high school students, people that's trying to switch careers, black, white, Hispanic, Asian, from America, from other countries. Literally, I have a wealth of different experiences from different cultures, different places, so on and so forth, right? Now, some of these people, thrive, they did what they needed to do, and they changed, their lives. Other people, they got frozen, they gave up, they got stuck, they faded away. It just was over with. And I just, wanted to sit back and just figure out why. What the hell is going on? Like, I thought anybody and everybody should be able to do this. So after just really sitting down and really thinking about it, I kind of wanted to just break down, the real reasons why you may not be able to get into tech. It's not, the algorithm, it's not AI. It's none of that stuff, to be honest. It's more about just human nature, mindset, and your personal level of execution. How long does it take for you to figure out stuff? How long does it take for you to start stuff? How long does it take for you to, complete things? That's kind of one of the biggest issues that I'm seeing. So just make sure that you keep that in mind throughout this entire episode. Reason number one why everybody can't be in tech, why everybody shouldn't get into tech. You can't be a dumbass, man. I'm sorry to tell you, but you cannot be a damn dummy. Intelligence matters a lot. I know we in the AI slop era. I know we in the do dumb shit, don't read books, be the dumbest, most ignorant person is the most popular. But trust me, if you're looking to get a job, if you're looking to start a career that continues to go up in potential obligations, responsibilities, and most importantly, money, you can't be dumb, man. To be in tech, you need at least a baseline level of intelligence. You ain't got to be a fucking genius, but you have to have the ability to think critically, troubleshoot, be able to analyze, be a problem solver. And I think even more in today's society, people don't know how to sit still and learn something, right? They would rather watch, 60-second clips or short little videos and stuff like that. And that's not going to breed a real work ethic, a real sense of self, a real level of intelligence. That's one of the biggest reasons that I do more long form than I do short form stuff, right? So I'll do more, at least 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes of content, because to win in tech, you need to be able to sit the fuck down and listen, comprehend, and understand, and then execute on the things that you just learned, right? So I'm hoping to attract and help those that can do those things. In 60 seconds, what are you going to learn in 60 seconds, or a couple minutes? Just think about this. With the level of distractions, if you get on TikTok, if you get on Instagram and you can do that shit for hours and not remember none of the stuff that you looked at. That's a scary thing, man. Super scary, right? One of the biggest things that I saw is that Burning Glass, right? They're a jobs report organization. They said that 42, right? 42, almost half of IT roles, right? That's just in general, whether it's help desk, cybersecurity, AI, whatever. Almost 50%, 42% to be exact, of job roles expect for you to have analytical problem solving skills. In tech, that's it. If everything's working fine, nobody gives a damn about you. As soon as something breaks, you need to know how to analyze it, critically think, and execute on whatever the issue is, right? You got to be able to do that. So if you're used to being fed the answer, if you're used to not sitting with stuff for a while, if you're used to, microwave stuff being happening right now, stuff happening as soon as you want it to, tech, just may not be where you need to be. You have to be able to problem solve. There's no way around that. So, for example, okay, let's say somebody watches a bunch of short videos, or they just memorize things, right? Let's say that somebody's got Security Plus, A Plus, Net Plus, CEH, CCNA, and a bunch of other fucking acronyms, but they don't have a job, right? It's because they did one thing. They memorized things, right? They're good at memorizing things, but they didn't actually pick up a skill set. They didn't understand what the question was truly asking. They didn't understand why they picked that answer. That's one of the biggest things in the exam room and life in general. You got to know how the fuck you're doing stuff, man. You can't just be aimlessly just doing stuff. Why you do that? I don't know. Just cause. That's not how life goes, especially if you're trying to win. Now, if you're just trying to get by, you can kind of do that. But if you're really trying to make it happen, you have to really understand why. And if you memorize stuff and you don't really understand what's going on, if you haven't been in tech, the interview process and the job hiring process is completely different than any other job market. You're going to have 3 or 4 interviews, right? You have a phone interview, an in-person interview, a technical interview. And throughout that process, if you're one of those people that just memorize answers, you're going to get found out to be a fucking dummy, right? And you don't want to be a dummy. You don't want to waste their time. You don't want to waste your time. And another thing is this. Right now, it's so competitive. If you are the top of the top, if you stand out from the crowd, right now is some of the best times to get a job. But if you kind of aren't one of them ones, it's going to be super tough for you right now. So another thing is this. You have to be able to think, right? That's a super underrated skill. What the hell do you think before you put it in Chat GPT? What the hell would you do before you Google it, right? You got to at least have a starting point, somewhat understanding. Because even if Chat GPT tell you do blah, 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 cool. Do you know why it's telling you to do that? Or are you going to ask it, why am I doing that? You have to have a supercomputer up here, man, right? This is the answering machine, right? This is the supercomputer. This is not artificial intelligence, real intelligence, right? Do you understand that? ChatGPT and Google is trying to mimic artificially what the fuck your brain does on its own, right? So why don't you put something in it? Put something in your brain. So I had a student that passed A plus and got a job, right? A lot of people say, oh, A plus ain't worth it. Skip it. It ain't gonna do shit for you. But it's just not the certification. It's the skills that come with it. It's the thinking that comes with it, right? If you can, look, man, if you ready to cut this shit off, if I don't hurt your feelings, this is what you need to know. If you can solve problems, you can make money. That's all every business, every job does. It solves a problem for a particular person, a particular sector, a particular environment, right? So if you right now are in a job and you ain't solving no fucking problems, I don't know. It's going to look pretty rough for you, right? I can't even think of a job where somebody's not solving a problem. Even if you're working at McDonald's, I'm hungry. That's the problem. You give me my shit through the drive-thru, cool. I'm not hungry anymore. Problem solved. That makes sense. So number one, you cannot be dumb. You have to have a certain level of intelligence starting out before you can even think about, getting into tech. The next thing is mindset, especially with how competitive things are. You have to look at this like it's sports, like it's the UFC. You go in an octagon with 30 other people. Whoever makes it out is going to be on top, because literally only the best of the best of people are getting jobs. Only the best of the best of people are thriving right now. And it's evolving. You have to kind of stay on top of your game. And a lot of times that comes with the right mindset, right? So I'm seeing a lot of videos of people saying, hey, I've been out of work for 3 months, 6 months, a year. That's fucking crazy, man. Right? You got to have the wrong mindset. If you are literally out of work for that long and not getting a paycheck, you got to do something else. You have to really step back and say, why the hell am I not getting a job? And I'm actually going to tell you something next. So stick around. That's kind of counterintuitive. And you're kind of like, damn, I never thought about it like that. But if you've been out of work for that long, that looks crazy, and you're crazy. You got bills, especially you got a family. You can't just wait around for shit to happen, right? Even if you got to maybe go to a more junior level, or if you got to, I was in whatever you were in. I was in server administration. Now I need to go over to cybersecurity. Now I need to pivot to AI. Now I need to pivot to cloud. Now I need to go back to help desk. Whatever is popping, right? You got beggars, and you shouldn't beg anybody for anything. So I don't want to say it like that, but people don't have that many choices. Kind of have to give what they're given, right? Or have to take what they're given. So until it's your time again, right? Figure out what you need to do to get you some money. According to LinkedIn, right? They said that 94% of employees will stay longer at a company that invested in their growth and mindset, right? If you're growing, right? This is another thing. If you're learning new stuff, getting new stuff, you have to grow mentally with your mindset as well. The old you cannot take you to new places. One more time. The old you cannot take you to new places. You can't just get certified, right? You can't just get certified. That's not enough. You have to get several certifications. You have to keep on learning. You have to keep on getting more skills. You have to take on more responsibility. This is just how things go, right? There is no instant gratification when it comes to this. You got to do this shit forever. You got to keep on getting certified. You got to keep on learning new stuff. You got to keep on changing and evolving, because technology, especially now, is changing and evolving, so much. You have to make sure that you got the right mindset. So according to McKinsey, they report that 50% of all employees will need reskilling by 2027. So that's a little bit over a year away, due to AI and just technology changing so much, right? So if you're looking for the bag, tech is where it's at. But if you're looking for something comfortable, if you're looking for something that's not going to challenge you, if you're looking for something that's going to allow you to remain the same, you got to do something else, man. Because this is not it. This is not the space for you. This is not the place for you. Now, the last thing I want to tell you is a little counterintuitive, and it may make you. Now, this last one is going to be a little crazy sounding, but stay with me. It's easier to get a job when you already got a job. I said it's easier to get a job when you already got a job. You may be saying, Rob, if I already got a job, the hell I need another job for? You may be burnt out. You may not be feeling it. You may not be reaching your full potential. And the reason why it's easier if you'd already have a job to get another job is that you don't come off as desperate, right? And you have leverage. Believe it or not, you may feel like you're moving and shaking, you good to go, you cool. But desperation is like seeping out of your pores. People can tell that you really need this job, that it's either this or back to the streets, right? So you just got to make sure that, or try to have some sort of leverage, right? And another thing is this: people that already have had a career, already have made, good money, they understand to get to that point, especially if they're starting another career, it's going to take time, it's going to take money, and it's going to take patience, right? And a strategy to get there. So they already probably know about working in, a corporate environment or a really professional environment. They understand communication, they understand professionalism, all that type of stuff, right? And believe it or not, I'm gonna tell you what nobody else wants to tell you. When you are unemployed, you are undesirable. That's just the fact. When you are unemployed, you are undesirable, right? Or if you're underemployed, or if, like I said, if you're just coming off as desperate, right? And some of you may be desperate, but just understand you have to make yourself valuable so you can get that leverage, so you can go in the interview, ask what you want to ask for. And hey, if you don't get the interview, or if you don't get the interview, or if you don't get the call back, or if you don't get the job, who gives a fuck? You already got a job, right? It takes so much stress off of your plate. Now, according to Harvard Business Review, yeah, Harvard, the big ass school that costs a lot of money, they say that there's something called employability bias, which means that hiring managers assume if you're working, you're capable. If you're not working, you're incapable. One more time, employability bias, according to the Harvard Business Reviews, a lot of hiring managers assume that if you already got a damn job, that you can do the job. If you don't have a job and been unemployed for a while, you cannot do the job. Okay? So just understand that having a job gives you so much leverage. Okay. So I had a guy that was in sales making 6 figures, right? Making a lot of good ass money, but he was working on ass hours. He was working almost 60, 70 hours a week, right? But he was making really, really, really good money. So he had the leverage. He had the reserves, the money, right? To get training, to get certifications. And if he didn't get the job, no big deal. He already had a job, making good ass money. He knew exactly how to get to the bag, right? But he was burnt out in sales and wanted to do something that, even if he was making a little less money, that had a dedicated schedule and that he could see potential in, and it wasn't, feast or famine, and he had to work all these crazy hours. So he was in sales, rocking out. He was making he was almost making like $150. $150,000 a year. He had to bump that down to about 85 in his first entry level position, right? And you're probably like, God damn, that's terrible. No, he's happier than he's ever been. He literally working 9 to 3 or 9 to 5 or just a couple hours, right? As opposed to having to work 12, 14 hours a day. He can be at home with his family, and he can get back to 150,000 in, a couple years. But the whole thing is he had that leverage. He's not stressed out, and he's actually doing something he loves. He said he was in sales just because it came easy to him, right? Charismatic, blah, blah. But he said he fucking hated it. What he's doing now, he loves it. So just keep all that stuff in mind, right? And you got to think about it. It's some people that's making 50, 60 or less with 2 or 3 jobs, working 60, 70 hours, right? So you got to, life is hard and shit is hard, but you got to choose which route you're going to take. Cause you don't want to stretch yourself too thin. If you got 2, 3 jobs, you got kids, you got a family, you got this, you got that, you won't even have the capacity. You won't even have the room for creativity. You won't even have a room to fucking think about doing nothing else, right? So you gotta get that leverage. You know, if you struggling to survive, it's gonna be hard to strategize, man. So make sure you get out of survival mode. So this is the whole thing, man. You may not be able to get in tech, and that's okay. Tech may not be for you, and that is okay. This is just my opinion after teaching thousands of people that everybody can't get into tech. Everybody wants to, right? Everybody wants to get into tech, but everybody will not and cannot get into tech. So that's kind of why I'm right now focusing only on, people that already have a career and they're trying to transition into something else. They already got discipline. They already got income stability. And they just hungering for something different, want to level up and see that tech can be that pathway. Also, people that are open to tough, real feedback, people that know how to stay consistent and, just want to invest and bet on themselves. So according to CompTIA, they usually come out with this workforce trend, like kind of what's going on in the landscape right now as far as the tech market, the job market, all that type of stuff. It says that 68% of successful IT career changers were already employed full time before starting training, right? And it just, like I said, it just frees you up. You can't fucking learn cybersecurity, AI, cloud computing, server administration, this and that, and you trying to figure out how to pay your bills, right? It's really, really, really tough. I done heard, people tell me, I got to make this work, man. I got to make this work. And that is just like, oh, fuck. Those words, the desperation, it never works. Because once they really see how hard it is, like, fuck, this shit really is hard. Plus I gotta, figure out how the hell I'm gonna make some money. Plus, I gotta do this. Plus I gotta do that. If you already have that money and that freedom, it makes things like a lot easier, right? So just understand, intelligence matters. You cannot be a dummy. Mindset matters, and your stability, right? Your current stability matters because you can't really learn when you're in chaos. So just understand, everybody wants to be in tech until it's time to fucking study, maybe fail, and then study again. The ones that win are the ones that stick in the fight, keep on going, and keep on doing what they need to do. So not only is tech not for everybody, not only is the Zero to IT Pro program not for everybody, this podcast, isn't for everybody. It's for the ones that's, not making excuses. They just want to execute, right? So let's say that you're just starting off your journey, right? You're ready to transition. You're ready to do something else. You're ready to make things happen. In the description, I'm going to drop our free tech career quiz. You just fill out a couple questions, fill out some information, and we'll shoot you what we think or what we recommend, what field you should go after, and what certifications you should get. If that's interesting to you, you can click in the description and go there. If you're listening to this, you can go to passtechcerts.com, passtechcerts.com, and you can take our free tech career quiz as well. Other than that, I hope 2025, the last quarter of 2025, is going to be awesome, and that you are preparing for 2026. Because for some people, it's going to be, the best year ever. For other people, it may be really rough. Either way, I'm rooting for you. And other than that, I'll see you in class.